Well, welcome. Happy Tuesday. We're not on our normally regularly scheduled day. I had a little bit of a headache yesterday, but thankfully, my wonderful guest here was gracious enough to move it for our 943rd episode of Tech Commute. I'm just kidding. It hasn't been that many.
I was going to be like,
Jesus
wow,
Christ.
that's
Yeah, you're like,
crazy.
holy shit.
I was like, dang, I made it in before 1,000. That's
I
insane.
know. No, I feel like we're in the couple hundreds at this point, but it's neither here nor there. Welcome to the Tech Commute, and welcome to my guest, developer, also student. I want to chop that up a little bit. I found out working on the degree, almost there, and he also just dropped some wonderful news about React Miami that somehow I managed to miss. I don't know how that happened, but ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Vogel, go ahead and introduce yourself, there, sir.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan. I am currently a developer slash content engineer for OpenCode, the agentic coding harness, and I have a lot of experience. I was previously at Neon, which got acquired by Databricks,
Mm.
and I was making videos and content there. And before that, I was kind of tinkering around with a open source project I call it Inbound. That's still around today that we'll be able to dive into. But yeah, I love making content and just sort of that interesting type of media where it's a little bit more stimulating than regular traditional videos. So that way, when you watch it, you're like, whoa, this is kind of fun and interesting, and I want to tune back into this. So that's kind of a little backstory, and I'm sure we'll dive in more.
Hell yeah,
Later.
hell yeah. It's great to see everybody in the chat here dropping in. Let's just get into the content since you brought that up, and content is very near and dear to my heart as well. How do you like what's your opinion or take on how content in tech should be produced? Because I think you kind of touched on it. Like there's a certain way that it goes, but you're trying to sort of break free from that.
Yeah, so I've if you picture the standard content standard, and it's very boring with tech because it's usually someone sitting in front of a camera looking at the camera saying, hey, we launched X, Y, and Z, and this matters to your company because CBA. And it's informational and it helps you, but it doesn't really entertain, and
Mm,
it doesn't feel like traditional like TikToks or anything. So I'm trying to come at it with the approach where you're looking at it and you're watching it and you're like, wow, I'm learning something, but I'm also entertained, and this is funny, or this is interesting for me to watch. So coming at it with that type of approach, it usually performs much better, and it gets people excited for like the next episode. Like I'm starting something new with Open Code called OC Weekly, and it's going to be a little mini series that every week we are going to have a new episode covering sort of like a weekend update, if you watch SNL
yeah.
type of thing, for Open Code and the community with AI. But I can't say too much, but there'll be a little twist to it where you, over time, when you watch the episodes, you're going to be like, wait, what did he just do? Wait a second, what's going on here? And it's just going to build on that and be a little bit interesting, but entertaining. I put the first episode out last week, and I've already gotten like multiple comments saying, I can't wait to like watch the next episode. And they're like, I can't believe I would feel this way about some sort of like tech video or
Yeah.
content. So then that's a great signal right there to be like, hey, some people are wanting to come back and listen.
I love that. I think that as far as content goes, I'm very much in agreement with you, and I think the tech scene, as far as content creations, become very just kind of sterile and safe. And I think that there's plenty of room for opportunity for that creativity to kind of shine. What's your I did see you last year at React Miami. You were doing a podcast with some video work or doing some like talking head interviews. Like, what's your background in content creation?
I have severe ADHD, so I've always loved tinkering around and messing with stuff. I've been doing video content, visual effects, that type of stuff for about, I'd like to say, 7 or 8 years, ever since I was like 11 or 12. And it's just been really fun for me because you can like express yourself in different ways and just like make cool effects. I haven't really done any of the practical, those sort of VFX stuff recently. Keep your eye out though, because there will be some inclusions of that in the future. But it's really interesting because like at React Miami, that was my first ever developer conference, and I had
Really?
just started the podcast Next Dev, where we kind of do something similar to this,
Hmm.
and we bring in these guests and interview them about how they got to their current spot in the tech world. And I was like, man, I really want to make a breakthrough entry at this place at React Miami. And I was like, I wonder if there is a way that I could just interview everyone like super quickly. So I came up with this concept of 90-second next devs. And basically, it's me going up to someone, holding the mic, saying, hey, let's do a 90-second next dev where you have 90 seconds to kind of tell me about yourself and I interview you. And then we put all of them together into this huge compilation and post that. Did pretty good. I think our channel had like 13 subscribers at the time, and it did like 3,000 views, which was
Okay.
amazing for
Yeah.
the thing. But yeah, I've interviewed some of the people in the chat here, and it was really really cool because it just allowed me to express myself and just sort of hyper accelerate my growth into sort of like this tech ecosystem.
I love that. You brought something up here, and I want to kind of rewind a little bit. How old are you?
21.
21. Now let's go back. How long have you been in the tech industry?
So that's a interesting question, because if you think of the tech industry as sort of this, I think of it like as the Twitter ecosystem, right?
Mm,
If we think of it as like this part of Twitter where it's like the people you see every day in Twitter working with tech and AI and everything, I've been in that ecosystem for about a year, like just a year. So I really started using my Twitter account in December of 2024, and I was interested in like that first SaaS wave, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to make a SaaS or something like that." So I
uh,
made a SaaS, and then met a bunch of people, and then I founded NextDev with Dan Goosewin.
mm.
And then I was like, "Oh, hey, this React Miami thing's around here. I would love to see if I could get a ticket to go." So then I got a ticket and went and did that. But then it's just been just about a year since I've been like a part of the Twitter thing. But in tech in general, I've been involved in that since I was like 9 years old, and I've been programming since I was like 10.
Wow, wow. That is crazy. And I think it really speaks to again like the importance of networking and putting yourself out there, building in public, just
Yeah.
reaching like how did you approach that over the last like year without having like already had experience doing it?
So there's a little methodology that I kind of structure myself with, where it's like you attach onto someone for reach, and you just try to be as much help to them as possible.
Hmm.
So in the earlier parts of my career on Twitter, I had no following. I really had no sort of like reason why you should follow me or interact with my content. So as you all know, Theo, one of the more popular people on the platform, I was like, hey, he just launched this SaaS product called Upload Thing. And I, as you can see here, have a 3D printing farm, which was one of my companies I started. And I was like, I wonder if I could make some cool 3D printed stuff for him and send it over to him just for free, just as a nice, fun gift.
Hmm.
And I did that, and he was like, "Whoa, this is super cool," because he had kind of not received anything like that, and he featured me on stream, which then introduced me to some of his friends, and that's just kind of just it's kind of just been like a snowball piling up over and over again, where I meet those people, I'm able to help them as much as possible, and this and that the other. So and then just kind of all piled up on top of each other.
Wow. Yesterday, you and I had sort of talked about it, which again, this was news to me at the time because I assumed, based on how you sort of approach everything, that you've been in the tech industry for quite some time. But you're also still finishing a college degree. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What's that? What's the degree?
It's I'm still in college for information technology,
Oh,
which I entered in 2022, and that was when I was still picturing myself as sort of the sysadmin role,
mm,
where I would go and work for like a local company and just become like a system administrator, managing databases, infrastructure, on-prem stuff. And the interesting story about that is I was at like a Bible study, and one of my buddies was like, "Hey, are you into tech?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "I've got a recruiter friend that might be interested to talk to you." I'm like, "Okay, but this seems fun." And I'm down doing something a couple weeks later, and the recruiter guy calls me, asks me a bunch of like really basic Windows Active Directory like server management solution or questions, and I just kind of answer them all. And he's like, "Great, that's awesome. I've got a gig for you if you're interested. It pays $25 an hour." I'm like, "Okay, what's it for?" And he's like, "I can't tell you that." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. How do I get started?" Because I was currently working at a Best Buy because of previous jobs and stuff like
mhm,
that. But I was like, "Hey, $25 an hour, that's not bad at all."
yeah.
And he basically texted me this address, and it said the address and then 8 a.m. And I'm like, I guess I just show up. And it was so I looked it up on Google Maps, and it was a police station. And I'm like, police station? What? Am I gonna go get like vetted by like the cops or something? I don't know. And so that Monday I show up and I'm texting the guy. I'm like, "Hey, where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, actually I can't be there, but one of my friends will meet you there. Or like one of my coworkers will meet you there." And I'm like, "Bro, this is so sketchy. This is a setup 100%." And it turns out that the company that was hiring the temp was the local municipal government for this area of Florida. And I ended up being a sysadmin for them in my second year of college, basically. And I worked there for 2 years. And I
Wow.
did. There was periods where I was the CIO of this small municipal city, for multiple months. I think I was the CIO for 5 months when we were
Wow.
going through a transition period. So I was managing budgets with CISA and all this other stuff, and that kind of just accelerated me into like this enterprise tech stuff. But then, yeah, once the December timeframe rolled around of 2024, I was still doing that stuff, but I was kind of getting bored with it because I was
Sure.
like, this is kind of stagnating, and I thought my degree would be a lot more interesting actually in applying it. Um, Oh, and the funny part about that is that this municipal city didn't care that I was still in college. They were like, "Oh, yeah, just keep working. I mean, you're doing more work for us than anyone's done for us before." So,
Wow.
yeah, and then in December, I was like, I want to see if I can maybe find a way to enter into this tech Twitter type of ecosystem. And in React Miami, that's when I was talking to Andre from Neon,
Hmm.
and he convinced me to do some contract work for Neon, and then I was essentially hired full time at Neon, which is really funny because the day I was hired, Databricks acquired Neon.
Oh, wow.
So I posted like a LinkedIn style post where I was like, "I'm excited to have joined Neon," and then the next day the acquisition was announced, and I'm like, "I'm excited to join Databricks." So it was so funny, but
What a whirlwind, though. I mean,
yeah,
going from like school to essentially a government job and then bouncing around through there. How are you how are you managing the time between like trying to do the education, working, balancing all that, and then also then making the pivot into like software development?
yeah, I've always had a passion for software development, so that really hasn't been a like a massive thing
Mm,
because uh, going further back to kind of explain the origins of software development with me is I've got this 3D printing company that I'm slowly working on turning down. But 4 years ago, it was a pretty big thing, and I had a lot of customers.
mhm.
And the reason that that got started is my first ever job where I was paid like under the table is a tiny little tech shop, is literally what it was called. And the owner, this is when I was 15, I think, and the owner was like, "Hey, find ways to make money. You have the shop, it's tech repair, you know what you're doing, so find ways to make money." And then one day, out of the blue, he brought me this 3D printer that he bought off Facebook Marketplace and was like, "Hey, find another revenue stream for this." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm sure I can put something together." And I put together like a very simple little PHP site that had a file upload button where you could upload your 3D file,
Mhm.
and then when you submit that, it would go through, slice the G code, figure out pricing. But the funny part with that is I didn't understand like parallelization and like threading. So when you submitted that file, it was a single request that wouldn't load the page and it would block it until all of the subsequent like tasks that took forever finished.
Oh
So it
wow.
would normally take about 3.5 minutes for the page to load with no sort of loading indication. And I'd wonder why nobody was buying it. But that was a great teaching method there. But then I kind of optimized it and it was doing good. But then the guy didn't pay me for 4 weeks. So
Oh
I was like, okay, you can either pay me or give me the IP of the 3D printing company and the 3D printers and all the materials and stuff like that. And he just opted for that because he didn't think it was that valuable. And I went on to turn that into a very profitable business. I think I've done like 50 or 60,000 in revenue over the
wow.
past couple of years, which has just been basically me doing it in this apartment. But yeah, so I've always had a passion for software
Mhm.
development, and in the past 2 years with school, it's just been extremely easy. Like, and that's not even a like a humble brag type of thing. It's just the education that because like the school I go to isn't like a top rated university like a Harvard or Princeton or something like that. It's just a standard like college. It's not
Mhm.
community college, but it's just a standard college. And the stuff that they're teaching us is just incredibly behind. And it's like I learned
Oh
this when I was like 14. Like I'm taking
yeah.
a cloud computing class right now, and we're learning about like types of hypervisors and everything like that. I'm like, I learned that like self-taught like 3 years ago when I was messing with uh, Hackintoshes and everything. But yeah, it's really interesting to see because it's like the older I became, it's like I just kind of internalized certain things, and now I spend maybe about an hour or two on school a week, if that.
Wow. Okay. All right. So what's the opportunity that you're hoping for with having the IT degree then? How are you planning on leveraging that?
I don't know. I think I was discussing with this you the other day, but I was like, none of the jobs that I've ever worked for have asked me for
Yeah.
my degree. So I'm just going to complete it because I've got one semester left. Otherwise, I would probably drop out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's really weird because it's like maybe a job in the future. It's like one of the technicalities is you have to have a college degree,
Mhm.
and that would be a pivot. But all the company, the past three companies that I've worked for, I guess four if you include the Neon Databricks thing, none of them have asked for like a transcript or anything like that. So it's really interesting to see because honestly, in this new tech world, you don't even need that. Nobody cares if you have college education. They care
Mm.
if you can actually get what you say you can get done. So it's yeah.
That's it. That's a great point. I was kind of curious, and when you had mentioned the degree or that you were working towards that, that's kind of where I wanted to talk because there's obviously a conversation on both sides. Like, do you need the degree? Do you not need the degree?
Right.
You're kind of in between, and you've already made so much without it.
Yeah.
How did you leverage not having it? Like, talk to us a little bit about what the process was for you that got you into this position without it.
I really just whenever someone would reach out to me for a job or anything like that, and because normally they would reach out, I really wouldn't reach out to them. It's just because of my past work that I've been posting, that I've been building, and because I'm a very open builder, it's like I talk about the issues that I encounter, I talk about any stuff that I might achieve, successes, failures, and I've just had a lot of successes in the past year. But something interesting is people often like equivocate it to like, oh, you're completely just building in public,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't agree with that entirely because building in public shows all your successes, failures, like the boring stuff. You create, you entertain in public, and you got to
Mm.
post in a way that is entertaining to other people. Because if you, like, let's say you have this simple SaaS where you're selling something and it's just like this super niche bug that you're running into. Yeah, you can post it, you might get a little bit of views, but that's not really going to get you anywhere. But if you turn that bug into a story and you give a reason for people to interact with your content, then that's how you grow. And over the time, I've just kind of tweaked that and applied that reasoning and research, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah. What was the talk to us about the transition from Databricks to the new role? Like, how did that all kind of come up?
Yeah, so that was pretty recent because I've just joined Open Code for about 2 weeks, and some members of
Very
the Open Code
recent.
team, yeah, some members of the Open Code team reached out to me and were like, "Hey, would you like to join?" And I was like, this kind of felt like one of those Michael Truel like cursor moments where he's like reaching out to you in your inbox, and you're like, "This seems like a good opportunity," and it's a great way to ride the AI hype train in that isn't really on a specific provider. So yeah, I just thought it was a great opportunity, and I love both teams, but I was like, this looks really good and appealing for this new AI wave.
Talk to us a little bit about because you had mentioned last year at React Miami, that was your first conference that you've ever been to. Can you talk us through what that was like doing like kind of that first in-person conference and what was your plan going into that?
Yeah, I didn't really have a plan to be honest.
Mm,
I just wanted to. I'd seen content about conferences and stuff and like those type of events before, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks really fun to kind of engage and work with and like meet other people, and it could be a networking fast track."
mhm.
So I didn't really have a motive or anything to kind of achieve there. I just was like, I want to get the most out of this conference and see all the people that I can meet, how much I can network, and how much I can make an impact on them just by the meetings with people. And over time, all the conferences that I went to, like when I was at Databricks, I would go out to a lot of conferences and work the booth and just network with other engineers. And I just refined that knowledge over and over and over again until until I mean, there's no real end goal in sight. You just kind of
Mhm.
keep refining, but the best way to do it is just being yourself.
Mm.
You just want to give people a version that's easy for you to reproduce, but that's also something predictable for them to be like, oh, that's Ryan, and this is how he acts. Because if you're always trying to put on a new face or like a new personality or a new style for a conference, and it's kind of hard to keep up with. But yeah, just like Roxy said, you got to be yourself, but be a little bit more interesting. But yeah, so it's really fun because you get to see everyone, and it definitely helps if you have like a work from home job like I've had for a while. So because it just kind of grounds you, and you're able to be like, oh hey, here's all the internet friends and everything.
Yeah, yeah, the in person I personally think is super important, especially for remote working. If you, we have a lot of people here that are like kind of our target audience are like job seekers, entry level people coming into tech. If you had some tips just based on your experience with in person events, outside of just kind of being yourself, but again, more interesting, what would be some ways for people to approach like a conference?
Be the reason someone remembers you at that conference, whether
Mm,
that's you making something weird, you doing something funny, you being memorable because you just have this certain personality. You got to give people, because if your goal is to get noticed, um, you want to do something and be like, I talked to everyone at this party, and everyone just knows your name. They may not know what you do, but they just know your name because
mm,
everyone's talking about you. And if you hit everyone at a conference and just introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm XYZ, I do this, I'd love to chat with you more. It may come off as like overbearing to you, but these people that you're talking with, they're going to meet thousands of people that day.
mm.
So you're not going to annoy them with your questions or anything like that. If anything, it's just like a standard interview. You'll just stand out more and be like, huh, when I talked to that Jason guy earlier today, it was interesting because he seemed really interested in this, that, the other. And then that just kind of like sticks in their brain the rest of the day. And it's when they see you again or see you online, then it's just increasing your luck surface where they're like, oh, hey, I talked to that Jason guy and he's sending me a LinkedIn for a friend request. Yeah, I'll grab some coffee with him and chat with him about it. So it's just like increasing your luck surface as much as you can.
Oh, I like that. Increasing your luck surface.
Yeah.
That's I like that. Um, I know we're almost at time here. I know you got to get going. And again, I do appreciate you switching. Yeah, Jason,
Of
interesting? No,
course.
I'm not interested at all. What is a project that you're working on right now that you're really like excited about that you can kind of talk about briefly?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up really quick. So my if any of you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm sure you know about Inbound screen share. Let's see if we can
Mm,
maybe put the
yep.
screen share up. There we go. So Inbound is my email infrastructure project, and it allows you to send, receive, reply in thread to emails, and it is completely open source. It's super cheap with the features that you get,
Wow.
and it's kind of funny. The domain is a .new domain, so it's inbound.new. And according to Google TLD rules, .new domains have to have an action that incites something new. So you can go to inbound.new and copy this email address and send it an email, and it will actually pop up as like a new email that's received to kind of
Wow.
showcase how inbound works. But I've been working on that for the past 9 months, and it has been growing very steadily. It's just been very, very steady on growth. And I haven't even like last month, I think I had 30,000 web impressions like from Google,
Wow.
and that it hasn't even been like me going out and marketing it every day. I think
Yeah.
I've grown more by not talking about it at all on Twitter and just having like organic like SEO growth than any of the other months. Like I think I've done a 28% jump in monthly recurring revenue in the past 2 months than any of the other months, like seeing that type of thing. And I've hardly talked about it. I've literally only been talking about like open code and
Yeah.
neon and all the other projects I'm working on. And I just subtly mention it in other regards. And if I build something with it, then I'll mention it. But it's
Hmm.
really good and really affirming to have a product where you're like, oh, wow, this just kind of works on its own and is in not maintenance mode, but it can be around for a while. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of it.
I love that. Yeah, you should be proud. That looks awesome. Everybody, definitely go check that out. Last question, I'll let you go. And again, thank you for hanging out with us today.
Of course. Thank you
Also,
for having me.
quick plug for React Miami. Are you going this year?
Yes, I am, and I'm actually going to be one of the MCs for React Miami this year, which is going to be super, super
Dang.
cool. So if you're going to React Miami, I can't wait to see you. Come pull me aside, say hi, and yeah, just practice what we talked about.
Yeah.
Stand out in a way to me where I'm like, hey, I remember you. That's awesome. I'll give you a guilt-free practice session right there.
Perfect opportunity to take some of the lessons and put them into motion. All right,
Yeah,
last question for you, Ryan. What does success look like to you?
that's a good one because I don't like to define it
Mm.
because I'm a very, like I said, I have severe ADHD. If I define an end goal, I quit when I hit it. Like
Oh.
with inbound, um, originally my end goal was like $1,000 a month, and I hit that, and I kind of stagnated a little bit on it, and I'm just like, I hit it. I mean, it's good. I mean, I'll go and reply to an email every now and then,
Mhm.
and so I kind of like to leave success uncapped
Mm.
because if I were to say like in my career, it's like, okay, success is me making X amount of money, success is me having X amount of followers, then it would just, I wouldn't have any motivation to work on it
Ah,
anymore. And if I just think of success as like a feeling where it's like you have little moments of success, but it's like, oh, this is great. I'm just going to keep on trying though. It's going to keep on. So like, there's no real success type of thing. I think the success that I might personally have is at the end of my career where I'm like, okay, I've built a lot. I can look back and see that my contributions have affected stuff in the real world.
Mhm.
Like there's a product out there that exists because of somebody I mentored or something I helped with. So that's kind of how I kind of picture it. But if it was like a firm end goal, then I would just the second I hit that, I would just kind of be like, all right, that's it. We're good to go and see ya.
Yeah. No, I like that. A lot of, I don't think anybody's ever really pitched it that way either. Having that, not putting a limit to it can keep
It's def
them for you.
it's definitely um influenced by my ADHD
Mm,
because I when I complete something, I don't have the feeling of nice, I completed it. I have the feeling of okay, that's finally done. Even if it was like months and months of work
yeah.
that I have been working on it. So it's more so like a signal of completion rather than yay, success.
Yeah.
So having that mindset just kind of keeps me in this never ending spiral of trying to push harder, work harder, and just be the best version of me.
I love that. Always striving to be the best version of ourselves
Yeah.
is something we should do. Thank you, Ryan, again so much for your time today. I know you got to head out. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going bi-weekly this season. Um,
Nice.
and I don't remember who is next, but I'll post about it, I promise. It was great to see everybody in the chat. Thank you again, Ryan. Make sure you go check out Inbound, go check out OpenAI, and head down to React Miami and go say hi to Ryan. All right, we will see you guys all in 2 weeks. Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys. Thank you.